Yeah, I think we're back. So, all right, yeah, let's go. So, this is white to play, and white is obviously trying to look for some methods where he can win the game. So, is there any possibility to like get something out of this position? So, white is going this way, black is going this way.
Bishop E1.
Bishop E1, like here,
Mhm.
but don't you think I can just capture it?
Mm, B6.
But I do have Bishop A5, yeah.
B7. You're okay. Almost. Almost. I'm almost there. Okay,
Okay.
almost. So King C6 first, then King C6. I was close.
Hmm. Okay.
Can I try one more line?
Yeah, yeah, sure, Kevin.
King C6.
Okay, King C6. I think black is going to play E4, yeah.
Okay. Not um then I was gonna do my bishop E1 idea again.
Bishop E1. Ah, okay. But then I can play bishop G1, I guess. Oh, no, I cannot play bishop G1, yeah. Yeah, King C6 looks interesting. E4, bishop E1. Ah, no, but now if you play bishop E1, Kevin, I just take your bishop, yeah, on E1.
Uh
Because when you go B6, I have bishop C3 and bishop E5. So this is the position that,
okay. You
so
still
here,
get it. Dang it.
still getting here, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. I need to look at it more. I, I don't know. I feel like that's the idea. I just
Yeah, it's always tricky about these kind of positions, like what to do and what not to do. Basically, the timing, yeah. And also one more thing, I just want to, I mean, before we start discussing this, just want to advise you. So always keep looking for transition into some king pawn endgames, if possible at all.
Mhm.
Any idea so far? Rafi,
The
maybe.
only idea
Yeah.
that I mean, like, I want to be able to play bishop b4, bishop c5, and somehow still be on time to queen before him. Like, I've already worked out lines where we both queen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any way to like check and pick up the queen or anything like that. And if I
Mm-hmm.
do trade queens, which I'm not even sure if I can, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, still a draw, he's gonna pick up h2. At best, I
Mm-hmm.
might be able to pull out a draw by trapping his king on the side or something. But
Mm-hmm.
other than that, it's possible that maybe I need to use my king to try to slow down the e pawn while using the bishop to try to push that pawn as far out as I can on the b file,
Always going to be
something
tricky,
like
yeah.
that.
I mean, it's going to be difficult to stop the e pawn with the king since black is also supporting it. Like these guys can keep moving together, yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna start and give you the first idea. So white actually should figure out bishop c3 in this position. And the idea is how is black going to defend the pawn? So I think the only move is to play e4.
Mhm.
And now bishop d4.
Mhm.
So this is, I think, exactly what Rafi was talking about, how to promote with a check. And I think this variation helps us to promote with a check, yeah.
Hmm.
So the same thing which you were suggesting, Rafi, by the way, with bishop to b4 and bishop to c5, I think here there is a huge difference, yeah. Like now if you go bishop c5 and takes, so black already pushes e3, so he queens
Hmm.
faster, right?
And
Right.
he's on a dark square. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but if we do the same thing with bishop c3 and bishop d4, after the trade, he cannot push e3. He is kind of forced to play king f4 in this position. And then we just play b6.
Wow. So after the attack on the pawn, there's no way to defend, right?
Yes, I don't see there is no any other way to defend the pawn.
Okay, so what if he just gives that up? Can he
Yeah,
try to,
You queen would check though, don't you?
I guess? Well, I was just thinking like maybe he can just give up the e pawn and try to walk his king over there, but I don't think it's possible because the pawn is way too far advanced and the king is too close.
yeah.
But you're at a queen on b6 would check, and then you can go over to b7 faster.
So
Sorry, Kevin, which variation?
So after you moved bishop, yeah, and then take move, yeah. He's gonna push, you push, and then you push with check, and then you can stop uh e
Stop the pawn?
yeah, try and stop the pawn and then walk your king over to h7.
But white will just get queen g3, yeah? So it's easily winning, right? I guess.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean he can just give up the queen for the pawn and just walk his king over in time also.
yeah.
Um,
That's what
uh,
I'm trying to say.
okay, I got it. So basically, you wanted to sacrifice if he promotes and walk this way, yeah?
Yeah, and then put while
Okay,
pushing
all right.
h4.
I just think it's not necessary because after king f3, queen g3 is a checkmate, surprisingly.
No.
And if
Yeah,
it goes king f5, we can just
we
play
just
queen,
win.
which should just pick up the pawn. And the same thing for king here. We just give a check and some checks nearby wins the pawn, I guess.
Yeah,
So
okay. Queen comes to e1 anyway. Yeah,
yeah, queen comes to e1. So I don't think we have to push it that far to like go for yet another king pawn endgame.
yeah.
But yeah,
Getting
I
him
mean,
on the dark square was the key. Yeah, I see what
yeah.
you're
So anyway, e4 was played, bishop d4, and this is so here e3 was played. And now how should white proceed?
I would still push b6.
B6. Okay, so B6, bishop G1.
Oh, interesting. Can I take e? If I take e3, he takes h2.
Hmm?
So
Well, after e3, he can just take the bishop and then go to a2 also. A7, sorry.
Uh, like, how should white play now?
No, I mean like bishop e3 doesn't work.
Ah, yeah,
right,
bishop E3 doesn't work. Yeah, he will,
right,
he
right,
will of course catch the pawn.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, I see a variation where I can be up a bishop and queen versus queen, but I don't know if there's a perpetual.
Okay, how did you see that?
If I just play b7,
Mhm. So he goes E2. This is the variation, yeah.
I'll take the bishop. Yeah,
Take bishop. Okay. So he promotes,
I promote.
you promote, and he cannot take. Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
Okay. But okay, that's definitely one winning variation. So another
Is it
way
winning though?
is
Because he have any kind of perpetuals or anything weird like that here?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the bishop will be blocking it, but I do have a suggestion that maybe the simpler way to win is to first play b8 queen, and after he queens, we can first give a check, yeah.
Oh,
Is he getting mated now?
No,
Possibly.
not really, but I just want to pick it up with the queen, yeah. So
Oh, okay. That's right. Safer. Because
yeah,
like
I mean,
bishop and king are closer.
yeah, bishop and king enclosure and everything is defended, yeah. So I don't lose anything else.
Right.
So maybe I mean the variation which you gave is also kind of okay, but this is tactically justified that I cannot take it right now. But however, if your king moves somewhere, because I'm pretty sure black will start giving you some checks here or here,
Hmm.
and then maybe if he picks up the bishop, like okay, you don't have any skewers to follow through it up.
Right. Yeah, it can be dangerous.
Yeah, but if we go with the other way, like now later on we pick it up, like after giving a check, I think this is way more simpler.
Right.
So that
Yeah.
means definitely B7, E2 is favoring white, yeah, in this position.
Right.
Okay, so B7, that means he will take bishop H2.
and take his pawn on e3.
Yeah, we have to take this pawn. Okay, now let's say black plays something like H5, I guess.
Bishop c5.
Bishop c5, definitely. So threatening to come here. I guess I have to play bishop b8.
I'm thinking just playing d6 anyway. Bishop d6.
Bishop d6, very good. So bishop a7 is the only move.
I'm thinking if I have time. Sorry. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. King c7 or king c6.
Just king c6.
Yeah, I'm checking it out. I'm
Okay.
trying to calculate if I have enough time, but unless you promote first. Um, yeah, I think I do win.
Very
King
nice.
c6. Yeah, and
King
then
c6 wins. So this is a very short diagonal, yeah, to keep up the bishop. So you just want to kick this guy out, I think, by this.
mhm.
And yeah, white actually wins. So this is a forcing win. And this is probably the main line as well in this position to calculate. So nice, white wins actually. So bishop c3, forcing e4 to get bishop d4. This is the main strategy, I think, behind this position. And it is good that Rafi did calculate the variation where both sides promote the queen and still white is winning. Because in this position, it is sometimes like, sometimes people just give up the variation after both sides promote a queen. But it is essential to understand that here we can still go and pick it up.
Yeah.
So white is definitely winning here. Actually, I want to see the computer's evaluation. Is it suggesting? Yeah, it is suggesting to play first queen checks and then capture it. So just wanted to confirm because I mean bishop g1, as I said, this is the reason like he will start giving you first some checks and maybe
Mm.
later on capture the bishop, yeah, after he drives your king away someplace.
Right. Because the king is so close also, I figured there's probably some perpetual ideas for sure.
Yeah,
And it
so
looks like there is.
yeah, so it's probably simpler to give a check and keep capture this bishop just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well done. All right, let's so we'll go to the next one right now. So in the previous one, we did see that the bishop was not able to stop the pawn. And in this position, this is pretty much the only challenge. Can the bishop stop the pawn? So white is going this way. What exactly should be black's defensive technique here?
I think bishop e8 is definitely forced. That's the first move for sure. Otherwise,
Okay,
he's just
bishop.
losing on the spot.
Mhm.
Because knight f3 is just winning, right?
Yeah, knight c6 was the biggest threat.
Oh, sorry, knight c6, yeah. So yeah, he has to play bishop e8. After that, I don't know yet.
Okay, so bishop e8 has to be the correct move. Okay, so somehow white will definitely try knight d7.
The bishop needs to come on the h3 c8 diagonal now, I believe, to try to slow down the knight as much as we can. Because in order for him to now initiate that same blockade, he has to somehow get his king all the way to d2 and put the knight on king on e7 and put the knight on e6. And that's
Yes,
going to take one, two, like several moves. So I would probably just go for bishop g6 here.
bishop g6. Okay, so
Probably.
let's say king goes to, yeah, definitely here.
Yeah.
Now what should we play?
Is king g2 king g2 possible?
Can try. So king g2, king e7.
I think we have to play bishop f5 now.
Yes,
Me
now we
too.
have to play bishop f5.
Yeah.
And now I think it's done. So this is a classic example how when the pawn shifts its self from the B file to the D file, things change actually quite easily. It's very easy to defend when the pawn is in the center. The bishops definitely get like more freedom to stop the pawn. In the previous position, the issue was that the bishop was stuck on the corner. Yeah. So whenever it was going to bishop on a7, it did not have enough space on the diagonal to control the pawn. In this one, however, we will always get like more opportunities to control the pawn.
So basically, as the knight tries to set up the same blockade on d3, or sorry,
Mhm.
e6, we're going to switch diagonal and come on the a4, e8 diagonal, and then he has to waste another 2-3 moves to get the same blockade, and then in that time, we're going to keep progressing our king forward, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So as much time as like white will take to rearrange the position, we slowly can bring our king that time. Because now I think he has to play this move, yeah, knight f8, and
Right.
we just go back bishop c8, right? So now again, he has to rearrange the position. So he has to play something like this, king here, And we will again by the time get our king up, so it should be an easy draw.
Mm,
Okay. Okay.
yes.
So what about this position? It's black to play.
Oh, I want to say I've seen this before. Surely this has happened in one of our games, Rafi.
Possibly.
I mean, since black is next to his pawn, there's no way for white to stop him from queening. So it should be a draw, theoretically. Um, it's just a2. Start there, or maybe just king b2.
Okay, so which one? I mean, there has to be some sort of a difference, yeah?
That's true. Let's do king b2.
Okay.
I mean, black is trying to draw.
Yes,
Yeah.
Black
obviously,
is not
yes.
winning this, obviously. So
Right.
yeah, just making sure.
So king b2.
Okay, king b2. So white has two options. One is rook b8 and one is rook h2.
If rook b8. Um, maybe king c1.
After rook b8, king c1.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Makes sense. And what about rook h2?
h2. Um, so let's check. King a1. No.
So this is actually very interesting. I mean, king b2 definitely is the right move in this position to go with. And after rook b8, this is the only move that kind of actually saves the game, I think here.
Well, that's the only move that's gonna keep the king away from coming in. If you go behind the a pawn, then you're not gonna be able to queen and the king can come in, right?
Yeah, I think the issue is after king c2, a2, white gets this king b3 idea, so
Right.
blocking the stalemate, and goes rook h8, yeah?
Correct.
So here, if you queen, there is a checkmate, and if we promote to a knight, unfortunately,
The knight gets trapped.
the knight gets trapped, yeah. So
Yeah.
should be good enough to win the game. So I
You
think
just play
king,
like, yeah. Sorry, go
yeah.
ahead.
So king b2, rook b8, and king c1 has to be the only way to draw this position.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Now a2 is a threat, and unfortunately, white's king cannot come. This method is kind of known as the shouldering method. So if you remember in the king pawn endgame, we did discuss about it as well.
Yeah.
So this is applicable here also. But the tricky part is rook h2.
King b3.
King b3, very nice. So again, you don't allow the king to come, yeah?
Yeah, same idea of forcing him out. Okay.
And that's a simple draw.
Interesting.
Just kind of force him out no matter what. Okay.
So this is actually again the interesting part. I mean, if we do come somewhere here, then we still get into trouble, yeah.
It kind of reminds me of some king pawn innings without the rook, with the same idea of keeping the king out from
Hmm.
the king. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Okay.
Like if you let the king in, then he gets yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. I'll shut up.
Okay. This is also black to play. So the question is, do you think black has some winning chances in this one?
Yes, I know this position.
Okay,
We looked at this position together. It's called the umbrella position.
very
Umbrella
nice,
method.
Rafi. Very nice. Good that you recognized it. Please, can you explain how this works?
So we're gonna try to make progress with the king on f3, but we need shelter from that rook checks. So we're gonna go ahead
Mm-hmm.
and sacrifice the f pawn to do that,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll be able to hide from the checks, and
Mm-hmm.
then be able to queen that e pawn, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of the exact move order, I would say I would say we need to sacrifice the pawn now, because otherwise, if we check first on b2, you
Mm-hmm.
know, when we play f4, I believe he can just give a check on a4 and mess it all up because he's gonna be able to take
Yeah.
on f4 with the rook. So we have to play f4 now, I think.
Okay, very nice. So we start with f4. He has to take.
Now we check. Now we can play king f3. Uh,
King f3. Yeah, this is
yeah,
simple.
yeah.
And this is the method. So Kevin, this is what Rafi explained. Actually, the technique is known as umbrella because the f4 pawn stops white from giving checks.
Yeah. Huh.
It's a
Oh,
very nice method, and Rafi and I actually had done this in the rook pawn endgame a couple of times before this as well. And you can see he recognized it almost instantly that this is the method to be used here. And this is a very important method because if you go wrong with king f4, the position actually gets drawn in this situation.
huh.
So you have to give up the pawn and actually take shelter behind the pawn. So this is just winning for us.
Interesting. Yeah. No, I've never seen that before.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And also, yeah, I think this is very critical. I mean, if we start with rook b2 check and now play f4, things can go against us, yeah?
Yeah.
So here, if we go king f3, unfortunately, we lose this pawn and he just goes back, and I think this is a draw as well.
Yes. Yeah. King is.
So also move order has to be precise in this position. So we need to play f4 first, force him. He has no options, or else f3 will come. And now we give a check and take shelter here.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. We'll go to the next one actually. So this is something which I wanted to discuss with you. It's white to play. What should be white's right plan in these kind of positions?
So maybe I need to somehow, threaten to play b5. So a4, b4, pawns should be on those two squares. So b5 is always going to be the next move coming. To defend against that, he needs to bring his king over. And eventually, I'm pretty sure I can actually play b5. By this time, my king should also be on d4. And after I make that trade, I'm going to quickly start walking my king to f5, e5, f6, and try to win those king side pawns quickly. So like ideal setup for me would be like king on d4, pawns on b4, a4, and then push for b5. A, B, A, B. Maybe king is on d7 or something at
Okay.
this point, d6, something like that. And so, ultimately he needs to, something needs to happen on c6 or c8. Some kind of trade is going to happen. And then my king will be very close to those kingside pawns. Something like that.
Okay. Okay.
So my first move might be probably first I would start walking the king. Because if I play b4 now, the problem might become that maybe he can play rook b8 and rook b6, which is probably a
Yes.
better defense for him. Because then the king and rook are better placed, and I don't have that pin anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
King e2.
So probably the king needs to come up first, and then I would play some type of like b4 so that my king can defend on b4, and then I'm threatening a4 and a5. Something like that.
Okay, possible.
So king e2 is my first move.
Okay, king e2. All right. So, I mean, actually, there is no clear-cut solution to this. I just wanted to know what should be White's plans stepwise.
Mm-hmm.
King
Well,
e2 here. Can we like I don't know, try and blockade the pawns and C and D and over a king and then attack with a rook? Like attack a5 with a rook. Am I still there? I had to mute. Can you guys hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I
I
can
don't know
hear
if
as well.
I don't
okay.
know if it's a valid plan or not, but
Okay, so all right, I actually do wanted to tell that in these kind of positions, White has to keep up the plan in two ways. So definitely the first plan I think has to be to get the king as quickly as possible. And then at the right time, we have to figure out which side pawns to advance because White will have to advance one of these pawns. At some point, e4 will come, and at some point, b5 might come.
At some point, okay, what is the idea of the h4, h5?
H4, H5 is basically trying to create another weakness, or else White will keep a pawn at H6, which will be proving like a dangerous pawn later on. And in case Black decides to take G takes H5, White can always pick it up by Rook H1, Rook H5, yeah. Or White can even try to play E4 after that, so that the Rook can take on H5.
you're kind of trying to create a passer anyway.
So what is Black's defensive method against me bringing the king to d4 and playing b4 and b5?
No, actually, I actually believe that I mean, to play B4, B5, White has to be a bit careful, yeah, because as you mentioned, Rook B8 can come.
I mean, like with the king on c4, d4, Like if the rook did come there, could I just defend it with the king?
Yeah, but black's
And
king will
then
be on d6 already, so we won't have the b5 break, yeah?
oh, I see the problem. And then if I do play a5 at some point, he can always play rook b5 at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So one important thing is not to agree draws from this position because a lot can be played from here.
Yeah, I would never accept, offer a draw here as white.
Definitely. Okay, that's
Definitely.
what. Okay, all right. So I think we will probably have to finish here. I do have another session as well right after this.
Okay.
So I think we can finish and probably see you tomorrow.
Okay. Sounds good, Anwesh. Yeah, let me know time wise.
Thanks. Okay.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Right.